What's the best idea you've ever had? Or maybe what's one of your most favorite really good ideas? Sometimes they're small, like when you decide to go this way instead of that way and avoid a major traffic jam, or when you order the special and it's exactly as delicious as the waiter described. Those are good ideas. Sometimes they're big good ideas that lead to something awesome. The idea to start this podcast about 2.5 years ago, for example. Some good ideas take a little convincing. I'll never forget the first time someone told me she was renting someone's house for her vacation through an app, Airbnb. Or when a friend invited me to get into a rando's car she called her Uber ride. Yeah, I had to be convinced that those were good ideas. Others you just know are good, right away. Ideas like the one Matthew Fuller came up with, and according to comments on the internet, a lot of others have too.
There have been comments on Facebook, oh, I think they hacked your laptop. Somebody would be like, hey, so-and-so, they stole your idea, like stuff like that. I'm like, well.
But Matthew is actually doing it. He's opening St. Louis's first toasted ravioli restaurant. And I think we can all agree that's a great idea. Today on Abby Eats St. Louis, chatting with Matthew Fuller and Brittany Abernathy, the team behind STL Toasted.
I just kind of stepped out in faith, and it's really just been one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had.
How a death-defying experience breathed life into the idea, how they're keeping it classic and mixing it up, and how they're managing the expectations of this T-Rav-loving town.
It's crazy. It's surreal. It really is.
Plus, food news and your weekend planner. Toasted ravioli is one of those St. Louis foods you'll casually mention to an out-of-towner and they'll be all like, wait, what? Toasted? If all you've ever had is the boiled pasta noodle kind of ravioli and your idea of toasted actually involves like a toaster, yeah, the image that conjures might be a bit confusing. Toasted ravioli, though, is a quintessential local food that could only have been invented in the kitchen of an Italian restaurant on the hill by accident. By a cook who was either drunk or confused, depending on whose story you listen to, tossing some traditional meat-filled ravioli into an oil fryer. It was hardly intentional. Fast forward 80 or so years, though, and it turns out it wasn't exactly intentional for Matthew and Brittany either. It was quite a journey to get here. That started both a while ago and recently because of the pandemic.
So I came up with this concept back in 2014. I thought it'd be really cool to have a food truck that did toasted ravioli type thing, but I never pursued it.
I work full-time as an occupational therapist. I do home health, so that's what I've been busy doing and have been doing since I graduated from college. We have always had a desire to start something like our own business, something like a family business, something like that. Honestly, we didn't know what it would be, could be. We just knew that eventually down the line we wanted to do something together.
I'm a contract musician professionally, I guess you could say, so I play for a few different people. That's how I make a lot of my money. With the pandemic, that went down. So I was doing real estate before that to kind of supplement, because obviously music, you never know where you're going to get your paycheck. So I was doing real estate. And then in April, no, it was May. It was the very beginning of May in 2020. I got in this car accident where I literally lost consciousness at the wheel and passed out. I was probably out for 3 or 4 minutes. Had it happen 10 minutes before that, I was on the highway doing 70 miles an hour. So it could have been the way having God's protecting angels, whatever you believe in, that's something happened that I didn't, die. It was very fortunate. But yeah, so the doctors kind of suggested that I don't drive for a while. And again, this is at the very beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah, and also at a time where we're all freaking out, alone,
exactly.
Not sure if we can get into hospitals. I'm sure your work was crazy.
Oh, it was crazy,
yeah. Too.
Yeah.
So I couldn't drive, I wasn't working, and all my music stuff had dried up because of the pandemic. I mean, I had one artist I was working with had the entire year booked, and it all just fell
everything
apart,
canceled,
right? So
yeah.
It would be easy for a person to fall apart in the face of all of that too. When many people were stuck inside, Matthew was really stuck inside. Couldn't even go for a hike or go to work or even drive. That meant a lot of time in the kitchen, cooking.
I started making sourdough like kind of everybody was. But then this toasted ravioli idea popped back in my head. And I was thinking about it, and I made some for some friends. And I was like, I think we could do something with this. And I literally, it was what? April of this year, of 2021, was where this was reborn, I guess you could say.
Right. So it has taken off.
It's just taken off. Like I had a friend who was working for the Lawrence group. He's like, well, I can at least hook you up with somebody at the Foundry. And I just sent an email, and they brought me right in, and it was just like, we love this concept. Let's kind of go. And so then we kind of had a freak out moment. It was like, we got to come up with, the capital and all this stuff to make this thing happen. And
because it's either now or never.
Right,
that's kind of how we were
I was
thought
like,
about
if we
it.
don't get in here now, you don't know if there's going to be an open spot.
Here's the thing. I come across ideas all the time because I don't know if I'll ever have it in me to be my own boss or have my own business, but I do have that, why the hell didn't I think about that? Going through my head all the time. I feel like all of St. Louis has that about with what you guys are doing because you're creating an attraction. I hope I don't mean to put extra pressure on here.
We know.
This is going to be something that when people travel to St. Louis, and they know something they have to do is try toasted raviolis, of course they're going to go to St. Louis's only toasted ravioli themed place. And
That's our goal.
The stakes are high, so how are you going to meet them?
Well, so we've really pushed ourselves to think outside the box of what toasted ravioli is. And one of the great things, I'll just plug for the Foundry, is awesome, is that, like we talked about earlier with the collaboration of just everybody, we can collaborate with almost any place in here, come up with a filling that we can put inside of a rav and make it even more of a draw, you know what I mean? But besides that, we've really wanted it to be unique in the sense where we're doing dessert ravs, we're doing more than just the beef and cheese, so there are some creative ravs that are out there. I know of several places that do have something outside the box, but our goal is to just to make sure it's the outside the box thing to do.
What's the craziest idea you guys have come up with that you feel comfortable sharing so far?
Well, I think one of the crazier ones we did...
the blackberry was the gooey butter.
Well, the gooey butter cake one is obviously... I wouldn't say that's crazy. It tastes like a stuffed donut. It's great. Somebody commented on Facebook and was like, that's not a toasted ravioli. It's a pastry. I was like, well, no, actually, it's a pasta dough. We make a lemon honey pasta dough, and then we coat that in some cinnamon breadcrumbs, and it's really good.
I guess those were some crazier ones.
Yeah, we did a crab rangoon one.
So do you plan on having a menu that kind of is constantly changing? Am I going to be able to get my classic toasted raviolis when I'm craving them when I want them? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we'll have some, the plan is to have our staples, and then we'll have some rotating specials that always kind of change. But you're probably always going to find the gooey butter cake one on there. You're always going to find the beef
We might
and the
change
cheese.
the fruit or the pairing with the gooey butter, but the gooey butter will probably always be on there. And like you said, the beef is always going to be on the menu.
And our goal is to really, like I said, collaborate with people and see what we can do.
Yeah. You mentioned the idea that somebody pushed back and said, wait, nah, it's not a toasted ravioli. How do you respond to that?
Matthew responded.
I did respond to him. I respond with the facts. We actually, it is a pasta dough. They were trying to say, their thing was that it was it was a pastry, and it wasn't it wasn't made like a toasted rav, but it actually is breadcrumbs, pasta dough, filling, that's a toasted rav.
See, I was going to say, because the thing is,
people just don't know. People can't think about a toasted ravioli being anything different other than beef and cheese, or maybe the occasional. I've seen buffalo chicken, but
even those I hear pushback though.
Yeah,
because people can be kind of protective.
Right.
St. Louis gets rural protective over its definitions of things.
Yeah.
But I also feel like this is a chance for St. Louis to say look at all the things a toasted ravioli can be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, one of my goals at least is to really take this even beyond St. Louis. I see this in other markets. I see Kansas City. Do some Kansas City barbecue toasted ravs.
A lot of sauce options for you there.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. That'd be. We have plans to take this hopefully to other places.
The Lawrence Group, developers behind the City Foundry, were all in. A restaurant consultant who's worked on other places here, also all in. Their family future volunteers to help run the place, they're all in too. Sure, they're dealing with some of those supply chain issues they'd only heard about in the past, now firsthand, but they say things are going pretty smoothly as they prepare to open this spring. And Matthew is feeling good. Brittany too, which after the past couple of years is a pretty great thing.
Oh man, it's a lot. I mean, I never realized how much it would actually be, but it is a lot.
But you're smiling. So
I am
that's
smiling.
good.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. We couldn't be any happier. And like you said, like with I've been so surprised that no one's ever thought of this. And I was like, I've just been so grateful that it was saved for me.
Departing words of wisdom for how to start a business during a pandemic, after a medical emergency, amidst a career change, with your spouse.
Yeah. No, I do.
Don't think about it too much.